Coming up tonight, thousands queue for labor on the blocks, taking a stab at being employed through the Ministry of Labor's employment program. Plus, United Nations countries warn of sanctions and future invasions. They say today it's Ukraine, tomorrow it can be another country. And our Jane Joseph takes us to grace and glory in the arts and entertainment segment. This is Our News Weekend Edition. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Megan Shepard. Police were looking into allegations that JoBeth Colby Davis allegedly struck an officer with her car. Back in June, Prime Minister Philip Davis said police never launched an investigation into the allegations. Those comments came after retired Police Commissioner Paul Rhodes said the matter was under active investigation.
What I want you to bear in mind, I took the investigation over from retired Commissioner Mr. Paul Rhodes. I have a team of officers who are continuing and going back and reviewing the matter. And I should be able to get an update very shortly from the investigator who was assigned to that. And I will be able to bring the results to the public.
The Department of Labor taking their Labor on the Blocks 2.0 initiative to the Southern Shores and South Beach communities this morning. Director of Labor Robert Farquharson says the goal is to bring employees together with employers.
We're so pleased that we have confirmed 45 employers who have said to us they want to hire persons. We've invited hundreds and hundreds of job seekers. As of 10 o'clock this morning, we had over 1,000 men and women seeking employment. So we have brought the job seekers who are looking for a job, along with the employers who are looking to hire people in one place. In addition to that, we have identified that there are a number of persons who are not prepared for the job market. They need the skills. So we have invited BTVI, the National Training Agency, the National Maritime Academy, and Cybertech. They are here to offer training opportunities.
10th and 11th grade students were also invited to take part in the dual enrollment program offered by the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute.
That will allow these 10th and 11th grade students to come to BTVI during the high school years, be certified in a number of areas: plumbing, electrical, carpentry, masonry, welding. And by the time they graduate from high school, they'll be certified and be able to better enter the job market.
Leader of opposition business in the House of Assembly, Adrian Wright, is not happy with the way the government is operating House of Assembly meetings. In fact, he described it as surprising and shameful.
I have not had to appear for work in the House of Assembly on average more than one day a week. You'll find that since Parliament opened in October of 2021, the legislative branch, though that's the members of Parliament, not the executive, haven't been required to be in this House doing the people's business more than one day a week on average. And I can't understand how we can be expected to ask for higher salaries if we're not being asked to work by this government.
He says there are a number of matters that need to be addressed and can only be addressed if the House of Assembly meets. White's comments came during a F&M press conference earlier this week.
We have legislation that needs to be put in place that, as the shadow Minister for Works, the Minister of Works, Alfred Sears, had indicated that there'll be amendments to the Planning and Subdivisions Act. We have developments being led by this government, not only in New Providence, but also in Abaco and Spring City, where constituents and residents, Bahamian persons, are asking, when are we going to hear from the government? When is the public hearing going to take place? Why isn't the laws with regard to how developments are supposed to be planned and carried out being followed?
As debate on the legalization of marijuana rages on, President and CEO of the National Lead Institute, Troy Clark, says the organization would not support the move. Clark warns that modern cannabis has a higher level of THC, the psychoactive compound, than strains of previous generations. For that reason, Clark says it could put younger users, especially those under the age of 25, at higher risk of addiction and negative effects because their brains have not fully developed.
We are against the legalization of marijuana but we are only for decriminalization for small amount in the area, or provided that if you're going to decriminalize marijuana, you must establish a drug treatment court. You cannot, because if we look at our population, about 60% or right around that figure are under the age of 25. So it makes no sense to say to decriminalize marijuana without providing the safety net for those individuals who will have fall off or who will become addicted, who are adolescents, who will have problems.
Just after the break, good news. The Pan American Health Organization promises vaccine for monkeypox by the end of the year. And the United Nations General Assembly overwhelmingly condemned Russia's attempted annexation of 4 Ukrainian areas. The details straight ahead when our News Weekend Edition returns. American Health Organization is looking to distribute monkeypox vaccines to the region by the end of the year. PAHO Director Dr. Carissa Etienne says the doses will come from PAHO's revolving fund for access to vaccines. Jasmine Brown reports.
Countries that have expressed interest to obtain vaccines are the Bahamas, Belize, Ecuador, El Salvador, Guyana, Honduras, Jamaica, Panama, Peru, and Trinidad and Tobago. PAHO is working with these countries and the manufacturer Bavarian Nordic to complete requested deliveries by the end of the year, provided that the requirements are met.
The top Pan American Health Organization official giving the reassurance during a virtual press conference this week. Dr. Etienne also revealing other countries in the region have already gotten their first shipment of monkeypox vaccines.
On October 4th, Brazil was the first country to receive an initial shipment of 9,800 doses. Chile followed, receiving its first shipment last Thursday, October 6th.
The Bahamas has placed an order for 1,400 doses of monkeypox vaccines through PAHO. In September, Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville told the press that the Ministry of Health had secured the vaccines but could not say at what cost or when they would arrive. The World Health Organization declared that the monkeypox outbreak was a public health emergency in July. So far, the Bahamas has confirmed 2 cases of monkeypox, but cases in the region have continued to soar.
Over 45,000 cases have now been reported in our region, representing 63% of the cases reported globally. 95% of these reported cases have been among men, and 56% have occurred in HIV-positive individuals. The spread of monkeypox seems to be slowing down, but more than 2,300 new cases were still reported in the Americas last week. A majority of these were in the United States, but hundreds were reported in Brazil, Colombia, and Mexico.
As cases remain high, Dr. Etienne says the vaccine supply is still limited, so vaccination among high-risk groups is a priority.
And despite limited supplies, they remain an important tool to reduce transmission in high-risk communities. We know how to track this disease. We know who is most at risk, and we know how to keep people safe from infection. We urge countries to use this knowledge to drive down cases and end transmission.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
The United Nations General Assembly this past week overwhelmingly condemned Russia's attempted annexation of 4 Ukrainian areas, while allies committed more military aid after intense Russian missile strikes recently. In New York, 3/4 of the 193-member General Assembly, 143 countries, voted in favor of a resolution that called Moscow's move illegal, this deepening Russia's international isolation. Ahead of the vote, delegates expressed their concerns with what they deem are violations to the UN Charter. Other representatives, like the ambassador for China, worded harsh criticisms against sanctions and taking sides. Only 4 countries joined Russia in voting against the resolution: Syria, Nicaragua, North Korea, and Belarus. United States' representative to the UN, Linda Thomas-Grenfeld, saying this:
The United Nations will not tolerate attempts at illegal annexation. We will never recognize it. These United Nations will not tolerate seizing a neighbor's land by force. We will stand up to it. These United Nations will not tolerate the destruction of the UN Charter. Today it's Russia invading Ukraine, but tomorrow it could be another nation whose territory is violated. It could be you. You could be next. What would you expect from this chamber?
When our News Weekend edition comes back from the break, Grand Bahama hosts its 50th annual Conker Cracking Festival on Heroes Day. Fun in the sun. And an 11-year-old author has a sit-down with us about her work. We have the details when our News Weekend edition returns. Grand Bahama hosting its 50th annual Conker Cracking Festival on Heroes Day. Many residents took the long drive to East Grand Bahama to take part in the festivities. Our Italia Hall reports.
The Conker Cracking Festival attracting residents and tourists alike on the holiday in East Grand Bahama. Bahamian food, art, and culture were all on full display. Member of Parliament for the area, Kwesi Thompson, says the festival is not just about having fun, it's about the renewal of a community.
It is about a statement that McLeanstown is back. It is about a statement that East Grand Bahama is back. If you believe they're back, let me hear you make some noise. If you believe McLeanstown is back, if you believe East Grand Bahama is back, let me hear you make some noise this evening. These events are powerful. They bring together family. They bring together culture. They bring together togetherness. But also they bring together economics.
Senator James Turner bringing brief remarks. He says the government stands behind the East Grand Bahama community.
We know of the turbulence that occurred here 3 years ago. We know that the journey has not been short, but we know that the victory is ours. We are committed to continuing doing what is required to restore the homes, to restore the lives, to make certain that East Grand Bahama is not left behind. Today what you see is a witness to that fact. Today what you see is a joy in our hearts because we know that the journey is not short, it's not easy, but the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step.
We spoke with Grand Bahama resident Wes Ford, who describes the festival as one to remember.
This is something that's been going on for 50 years, and I'm embarrassed to say this is my first time. You know, you got to tell the truth, right? And I've been missing a lot. I mean, not only that you know you have the festivities of having people come together. You have people coming together from all walks of life, from all parts of the island, and I even see people from West End. And today is a holiday.
This visitor says she was able to sample some of the food.
The cracked lobster with French fries and the conch.
And you enjoyed it?
Oh yeah, delicious.
Now our very own cameraman in Grand Bahama, Tim Allen, taking part in the conch cracking competition and walked away with the third place win. Reporting for Our News, I'm Italia Hall.
Thanks, Italia, and congratulations to Tim. 11-year-old Ayana Hernandez already wears many hats. She is a 6th grade student at Eva Hilton Primary School, a published author, and even a little philanthropist. Ayana's family started an organization, Valentine's Swaddle, that donates blankets to babies at PMH yearly on Valentine's Day. Well, that organization was the inspiration that led Ayana to becoming an author.
I created these books to raise funds for Valentine's Swaddle, which is my organization where we donate blankets to babies. Because during the pandemic, we weren't getting a lot of funds, so I decided to create these books so when the money comes in, we can use some of it to go towards the blankets for the babies.
So far, she has a collection of 4 preschool activity books.
They focus more on reading and writing to make sure they form the letters properly and their numbers and counting.
Although the process was a bit challenging at first, she says she's been enjoying the entire ride.
At first, it was difficult, especially designing the cover of the book and the worksheets inside. But after a while, I got used to it and it became easier. My publisher helped me. She helped me design the cover and to double check and make sure everything was right.
As a published author, Ayana says she's filled with pride.
I felt happy and confident that they'd make learning easier, and I was so glad that because now I can make money to get more blankets for the babies.
And even though she's only 11 years old, she already has big plans for the future.
I'm thinking to be a pediatrician because I could both help children and see them prosper in life.
Now you can support and purchase all of her books by simply typing in her name, Ayana Hernandez, on Amazon. Just after the break, the weather report to see what's happening out there in the tropics. And Grace and Glory is on the way with our Jean Joseph in the arts and entertainment segment. That's coming up when our News Weekend edition returns. Sunny and hot out there today. Enjoy as this weather is slowly coming to an end. Let's take a look at how weather is shaping up. Gospel singers, get ready to take it to the big stage. The first annual Grace and Glory Gospel Music Competition is happening soon, and our Jean Joseph has all the details.
Churches go around, oh, we have the best choir, you know? But now you have a chance to prove that you're the best choir.
Bahamas Events and Sports is putting it all on the line with the first annual Grace and Glory Gospel Music Competition, set to run for just over 5 weeks, beginning November 1st with the grand finale on December 10th. 40 church choirs and 40 soloists will compete over 4 levels, from preliminaries to finals, with one choir and soloist standing out as the best gospel singers in the Bahamas. Tommy Stubbs, BES Executive Director of Sales and Events, says he and his team are doing their part to highlight more of the things that bring out the best in the nation.
We believe that music changes people's behavior. I certainly believe it does. When you're attracted to the wrong type of music, it really gets into the soul. But if you have gospel music and some inspiring music, it can really change one's behavior. And this is what we, all of us who are part of this event, that's what we look forward to.
The competition, sponsored by Fusion Superplex and Buttons Formalwear, features the $10,000 Dr. Richard E. Dean Choir Award Prize and the $1,000 Samuel C. Stubbs Soloist Award.
The $10,000 cash prize for the choir, it's probably the largest gospel competitive prize
I've never heard of any.
We've had in history.
Yeah.
So it's significant. And it's not cash and prizes, it's cash. It's not going to be broken down $5,000 in cash and another $5,000 in prizes. It's $10,000 in cash.
Fusion CEO Carlos Folks says the competition will be a springboard for gospel artists, a way to sing their praises and potentially pave the way to a career.
Those who are in the church can show their talent and still bring praise and glory to the Lord at the same time, all right? And so we want to be one of those places, if not the only one at this time, that would support and provide an environment to cultivate that type of talent and to give them a place for expression.
And for those wondering, Folks says there are no restrictions on how winners can use the cash.
They can take that and they can go out and do the work of the Lord in the community, all right? And our goal here is to bring the churches together, at the same time provide resources for them to continue their work, all right?
It takes money for everything.
The registration deadline is October 27th. Visit bahamasevents.net or email events@fusionsuperplex.com to secure your spot, and visit Fusion for more information on tickets. Reporting for Our News, Arts and Entertainment, I'm Gene Joseph.
Thank you so much for joining us for Our News, a weekend edition. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepherd. Continue to enjoy the rest of your weekend.